In today's jauntily macabre episode, did Archimedes invent a death ray? What is the odour of sanctity? What is the fate of Michael Rockefeller? Was it cannibals? Did Jesus really die in Japan? The story of the real Bridal corpse? And an alien war in the sky way back in 1566. Let's dive into it.
Morbid history.
Number 1. Archimedes Death Ray. Greek mathematician, inventor, and astronomer. Most well known for running through the streets of Syracuse screaming, "Eureka, Eureka, I got it." At least that's what the smarty-patsy historic scholars say that he did, and I will trust them. He did that. Well, after a very inspiring bath sesh. But what I didn't know, and maybe some other people have missed it, is that he invented a death ray. Yeah, destroying ships by fire. During the siege of Syracuse, which was between 212 and 213 BC, apparently Archimedes developed, well, it was basically a giant mirror or two or multiple that harnessed the warmth of the sun and could point it as a ray to enemy ships, setting them ablaze. Fun, if it happened. There's absolutely no written records of such an invention from the man himself, and everything, or all the surviving documents that we have, are from many years after it supposedly happened. Apparently he also invented a giant claw hand, aptly named the Claw of Archimedes, which was a giant hand with claws that was tied to a wall, I'm guessing the city wall, which was being attacked, and it was strapped to some kind of pulley system. I'm guessing that it went up and down, and it was supposed to go down. When it was down there, it would take the enemy ship by the front and flip it over, yeeting all those enemies into the water. Good. Sounds fun, and I would love for it to be true. But also, yet again, we don't have much proof of that happening either. But that won't stop me from taking it as the gospel truth. Archimedes was an inventor of mass destruction. Yeah, that is what I believe in now, because that is most fun. Now, a short and sweet one. Next. Number 2. A very short little entry that I stumbled upon during research, and that is the odour of sanctity, or also called the holy smell. This is a phenomenon that has been witnessed, I guess, ever since medieval ages and before that in the Catholic Church. Yeah, it's a scent that is brain fart. It's said to be a particular sweet, flowery scent, almost like roses or lilies, coming from a body of a saint. It's both odd and a mystery, since it has indeed been experienced by plenty of people for a very, very long time. Scientists, they think that it could have to do something with, if you're going through ketosis, if you've starved or fasted prior to life subscription cancellation, the ketosis can make the body emit a very sweet and weird smell. So that could easily be an explanation to all that. Either way, fascinating stuff. Now, cannibals and rich people. Number 3. What happened to Michael Rockefeller? Michael Rockefeller, he was indeed a dude. No, he was a man, and he was born into one of the most prestigious and wealthy families, a dynasty of American history, the Rockefellers, of course. Michael Clark Rockefeller was born in 1938 and did as any prestigious young man from such a dynasty would do. He went to Harvard to study, and he wanted to become a politician, like the people after him in that dynasty went ahead and did without him. But he soon realized that his passion was actually in what was called primitive art, anthropology, adventuring. He has been quoted to have said, "It's the desire to do something adventurous at a time when frontiers, in a real sense of the word, are disappearing." So, what Michael did, he went to Dutch New Guinea, which is Papua New Guinea now, but it was called that back then. He went there for a few trips to shoot video for a documentary, I think, and take pictures and collect data. One of those tribes who had not been introduced to society was living there. They were called the Asmat, and Michael enjoyed spending time with these wonderful, primitive people. Problem was that they were also known to be in war, constant war with each other and other tribes, and also cannibalism. They had not stopped doing the cannibalism by this point. Like, this was in 1960s. Kinda terrifying that it was going on so late into our modern time, but there we go. Michael, indeed, was there doing his adventuring thing. And he also wanted to collect some primitive art for his father's new museum containing such art. And so, thus, came the fateful day in 1961, when Michael was 23 years old. He and an anthropologist were on a boat which capsized, and they were just out there in Dutch New Guinea, in the waters, and they had a feeling they would not get rescued anytime soon. So Michael, he decided that he would swim to land. He put some empty canisters, like water bottles or something, like strapped to him and started swimming to land. The other person stayed, afraid of doing so, I guess. Ironically, that person was saved a few hours later, but Michael Rockefeller, was never to be seen again. And that is where the mystery begins. An extensive search was going on, of course, because this wasn't just one random guy. This was the guy of one of the greatest and richest families in the world. You can't just have them disappearing like that. So even with this extensive search, nothing of him was ever found. Theories are as follows. 1. He drowned. Animal attack. To that, some people say, well, we would have found some parts of him at least if that was the case. And we never did. Nada. Zero. Nothing. Another theory was that he got to land and for some reason decided to start a new life and start living with some a tribe, just for the fun of it, faking his own demise and starting a new life with the tribe that he liked so much, maybe. And the third is that he indeed came onto land and was quickly demised by the tribe's people and consumed. Many things could point to that sad theory. The Asmet tribe were known to be eye for an eye, like if someone took one of them, they took one of theirs, and they had been in conflict with the Dutch, and in that conflict some of their tribesmen had been demised. So it's assumed that when they saw this white man coming up on shore, they decided to take him as revenge for that. And another one was when the Rockefeller family sent a private investigator. He came back with 3 skulls that was given to him by the tribe that told him that these were the 3 white people that they had cannibalized, eaten, and that one of them was that Rockefeller guy. Even going so far as telling stories about how they found him and did the deed. Even so, there has been no conclusive evidence as to what happened to Michael Rockefeller. We can only assume the worst. Next one, Jesus in Japan. Jesus Christus died in Japan. Yeah, that is a bizarre theory, and it's just marvelous, and I love it so much. Shingo, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I know. It's a small town in the middle of nowhere in Japan, and they have this weird claim to fame. They insist that on or inside of a small hill with a big cross sticking out of it is the last burial site for Jesus Christ himself. Maybe Jesus was the first weeb. Either way, the story goes that for some reason Jesus left Jerusalem and wanted a calmer life and sashayed his way to Japan somehow, where he plopped himself down, became a family man, married someone, got a wife and kids and all that fun jazz, became a farmer. Every cozy gamer's dream. As a side note to this crazy fan fiction, at some point Jesus decided to return to Jerusalem where they wanted to crucify him, but instead Jesus' brother, who had a very Japanese name for some odd reason, Isukiri, he pretended to be Jesus and took his place and got crucified in his place so that Jesus Christus could return to Japan and live out his life as a little farmer. Either way, this supposed tomb of Christ is today a tourist trap, and they have yearly festivities to remember and honor Jesus the Weeb. Hallelujah, amen. Let's continue. Now, the real corpse bride. This is an extremely odd, creepy, and terrifying story, if true. I'm not gonna pronounce the name because I'm just bad with that. I'll write it out. Either way, there was a bridal shop, I think maybe it's still there. Either way, in Chihuahua, Mexico. The special thing about this bridal shop was the mannequin that was standing front and center in the window. It looked a little bit too real. Not mannequin-like at all. There was texture, The hands especially, I'm gonna show pictures, they're insane in the detail. When people saw this mannequin, of course, rumors started swirling. Its first appearance in that bridal window was in 1930. And like I said, its very lifelike form and creepy look garnered attention, and many started saying that this was actually the embalmed body of the bridal shop's owner's daughter, who had perished, ironically, at her own wedding from a spider bite from a black widow, and the mourning mother had her embalmed in an extremely good way, I must say, in that case, and placed her in the window, as one does. Mortuary experts today say, no way, Jose. A body, however embalmed, can't just stand in this warm, humid weather and not start decaying or looking worse for wear, so to say. But still to this day, it's very odd, mysterious, and unsolved. We don't know. We can only guess and look at the creepy pictures. Next one. And the last short and sweet one for this episode. The celestial phenomena over Basel, Switzerland in 1566. The thing was that out of nowhere in 1566, and I think in 1561 too, people started noticing weird sunrises and sunsets. That's how it's described anyway. But beyond that, also spheres filling the sky. They were black and red and seemed to be at war with each other. And there's many illustrations from the time of this thing that apparently happened. Modern ufologists say that this was a sky war among spaceships that just so happened to be there in the sky over Switzerland. Some eyewitness reports even tell of them crashing down onto Earth. Some artistic renditions show the same, like that they were actually these black spheres and red things crashing and falling. The people back then assumed that they had something to do with God, like an omen or sign. Even though we have many renditions, both written and illustrated, we still can't explain what the heck actually happened on that day in 1566. And will it ever happen again? I don't know if I'd want to see that. So I vote no. That's all of the oddities and mysteries for this time. Stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for watching, and giant thanks to my lovely Patreons. You're my heroes. If you want to support the channel, find links down below for my Patreon and Ko-fi if you want to leave a tip. And also I have a shop where I make some handmade crafts. So yeah, like and subscribe and comment down below. Stay amazing, stay hydrated, but most of all, stay morbid. Bye bye!